Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to the Crow's Nest. It's Tuesday, day after Labor Day. So it feels like Monday, but it's really still a Tuesday. 5 p.m. Central Time. We're on the Reaper Twitch channel with Jason and I are welcoming our return guest. Gene's been on a few times, but Gene Van Horn. We're going to do a deep dive today with the
Woo!
Gene Van Horn. I know. He's been super excited
This
about
time
this.
it'll be special.
Just
It'll be real
with
special.
with the Protean artist
That's right.
is probably the most prepared artist that we've had on. We have so much content this time. It's unbelievable.
He's just a
For
shameless
future guests,
self-promoter.
I am.
for future guests, Gene is setting the bar today on preparation. When
I
we
blew the
asked Gene,
curve.
hey,
Sorry, guys.
you blew,
Well,
I'm glad you
this-
finished the sentence that way.
This
I am a
establishes us
protein
as
artist. Right?
the most trusted source of Gene Van Horn on the internet right now.
True. Hey, do you guys have a great and wonderful Labor Day 3-day weekend?
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah.
It rained.
Very quiet.
It rained the
rained?
Yeah, it
entire
rained. It
time.
rained the whole
Oh.
weekend.
It was beautiful
So-
here. We tended a couple graves and we came back, had a barbecue. You
Uh-huh.
know, it was pretty good.
Cool.
We postponed our
Memorial
barbecue
Day?
till tonight. We're
I think
having
I
a
said Labor
barbecue
Day.
tonight.
It was Memorial Day. I'm
Memorial
You
sorry,
Day,
did,
everybody.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
Labor Day
Well.
is ReaperCon, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I was kind of maybe subliminally
You were
thinking.
alluding to.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe my brain wants to be there, but yeah. Oh, and today, well, even though we have Gene on, I was fortunate enough, per the encouragement, I believe, of Jason, to get a copy of Barty, and this is going to be one of the ReaperCon figures. So
Yes, that's
super
the
cool.
Barty Patriarch. That's Captain Barty of the famous Barty brothers and Barty sister from days gone by.
Oh, and is
It's a
there
good
any other
thing
Worms
Frank's
crawl
not
backstory?
out,
gonna have
worms
one of
crawl
those.
in.
Yeah. Is there any other backstory to this guy that you have?
I know that they're all bloated and they're being consumed by hagfish,
Mhm.
and they're running around trying to recruit people into their crew. I don't know how successful they'll be in view of the hagfish thing and the holes in them, but their charisma
the
might
hag-
make up for it.
Are the hagfish keeping them alive? Or are they adding? They could be giving them more hit points and more stamina.
Well, I know they all seem to be annoyed, so I don't know if the
Okay.
hagfish annoy them or animate them, or both.
Okay.
Maybe a
Maybe.
little both.
Fantastic miniature. He is a beast. Big figure. I'm trying to find. I do not have a Sir 4 scale. He's gonna have to trust me. He's a big figure.
You
Here's
don't have a Sir
space
4
guy.
scale.
Here's
There
the
you go.
space guy. So he's about Sir 4 scale level size. So big guy. And this is what I painted on Reaper Errant while we were not getting killed by a blue dragon.
You're welcome.
So, hey, I want to say hello to I saw Bob and Julie was on, Neo Show 143. Rhonda is on. Rhonda's show did not air yesterday because Justin had to take a vacation day. That's kind of lame of Justin.
You had to go to barbecue.
Um,
Come on, man.
Yeah,
It wasn't
whatever.
raining in Texas. It's raining
Oh,
today,
that's
though.
true. It's
Now they're
it's
flooding.
raining here. It's raining
Is
here
it?
right now. It was in
Oh.
my house a second ago. Yeah.
It's not raining here.
Um,
But
Yeah.
It actually
But,
did rain yesterday a lot.
Did it?
it rained
same.
there
It-
in Texas too.
It did, yeah.
Oh, it's 90 without a cloud in the sky here today.
Oh, it's fantastic.
We need to be up in the northwest.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
this is
Yeah,
when it
we've
really,
had.
this is when it really gets nice up here. I mean, this time of year is this, and then the corresponding months of the fall. You know, early fall, early summer are wonderful.
Well, I'm sure everyone is tuned in to hear about the weather.
Hear
in
about the
various
weather.
parts. But fun fact, Denver this month has had 3 times more rain than Seattle has had in the last month. Now we're done with the weather. A few episodes ago, we started, and this started with Derek Schubert, and we've continued on with Rhonda and a little bit of Bryce and Bobby Jackson doing deep dives with our favorite artists. And so that's what we had Gene back on today, was to do a big old deep dive with some of his figures. And I wanted to, Jason, do you have any other setup, any other things that you want to talk about prior to us going into some deep dive items?
No, I feel like, we've glossed over a lot of Gene's past, mostly on his request.
Yeah, his time spent in prison, we've skipped over that.
Right into his artwork, yeah. The earwax sculptures in prison, I think we could leave those aside, the earwax and talcum ones.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get into my
That's
protein
probably a good
later.
thing. Yeah.
His world's most premier protein artist days.
Yeah, that's where he developed his protein style. All right, so
in prison.
All
right, we're sorry, guys.
Walk away.
You really don't want to go that direction.
No, we don't.
Justin, have you ever heard Michael's prison story?
You've done.
Oh,
no,
I have a great. I have a great prison story.
No, let's don't talk about that.
It's nothing to do with me in
terms
prison.
Of service, man. Oh my gosh.
Just something he witnessed in prison.
That is a late night.
Tell us about the miniature. Stop this.
All right.
Stop this now. Put the brakes on the bus, Michael.
All right. Here we go. Now, for our first topic today is going to be, we're going to do a deep dive on an actual miniature that's from concept to sculpture, and even if we want to talk about a little bit of the paint job as well, all the way through the process. And this is the Demonic Lasher. He's part of the Bones 5 Kickstarter, even though it might say Bones 4 on the box. When you get it, it'll be Bones 5.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Don't get confused.
Not sure of the typos
think,
on
I
that.
already got this one 2 years ago. What is this coming in my mail now?
Yeah, this is a badass figure. But enough of the painted one. We'll come back to that maybe. But I wanted to... So the Demonic Lasher, Gene, when Ron presented that to you, typically, like we've talked about, there you go. There's sometimes art involved, sometimes concept art involved, and sometimes designed by Izzy. But in this case, you were just said, come up with a Demonic Lasher, because there might be another D&D inspired character that you could be compared to, but we're not going to say its name.
Well, Reaper already has a Demonic Lasher. I think it was sculpted by Bob Ollie, I want to say.
Bob Ollie, yeah.
Yeah, I think he sculpted. Anyway, Ron just wanted to update it. And
make it bigger.
And make it bigger, yeah, because of bones and all that. So the very first image that Justin showed was my just initial, hey, Ron, are you thinking something like this? And
that's
of
like
course,
a gesture level drawing.
Yeah, just a very quick gesture, very, I didn't know how animated he wanted it. I didn't know how, that when you're starting with a sculpt, you have to show Ron what he wants. He knows what he doesn't want. So you're always in the process of trying to show him what he wants. So, I did the first one, and then this was kind of the second. This iteration was kind of the second one, and this was the third iteration. And at this stage, we would actually start sculpting. And unfortunately, I don't really have any in progress sculpting shots.
Well, there you go.
But
that looks in progress.
Well, that was, I guess that was a ways
You left
into
off the
it.
fishnet tights that were in the concept sketch, though.
Yeah.
Well, he'd already stripped out of those. You can see he just got his bodysuit on. So, anyway, at this stage we're sculpting, and nothing is finalized. Even towards the very very end, it seems like nothing is ever finalized, because as you can see on the left, that was the pose he was in, and then on the right, Ron had me change the pose a little bit, shrink him down a little more, bend him over a little more, and I think I even changed his head pose again, and then changed his tentacles into tentacle fingers instead of actual tentacles. So it's one of those things that you just keep changing and changing and changing until this was a long figure. It took well over a year to get done because Ron just had different ideas about what he wanted to do or not do. Like I said, he's very good at knowing what he doesn't like.
Do you keep those in separate poly groups to make it easier to edit as you go through? Like the tentacles.
The tentacles, I think, they're separate subtools. They were different parts.
Separate. Yeah, I tend to use subtools more, but for the same reason. You never know when the edit's going to be, and that I keep the head separate very often until the very last bit.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful piece.
This is the finished one. Thank you. And as you can see, the tentacles changed again into kind of tentacle hands. The heads changed.
I like those a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a challenge to get it, but I'm happy with how it turned out. The heads changed, the textures changed, everything. It just changed in multiple times. So, but that's the nice thing about digital is you can do that. You can go back and forth many times, sometimes to your detriment.
Yeah, it was a nice thing until the art directors all realized that we could change stuff easier than we could in green putty.
Yeah, because back in the day, you'd send it in and you'd be lucky to get, a couple changes. They'd be lucky to get a couple changes, but nowadays...
Yeah, poor Kevin had to do most of the changes in the shop.
That's
very
true.
Often.
That's true. So let's look at Michael's paint job of that, because I think it's an awesome paint job.
Yeah, thanks. You want to, Justin, pull up the images if you can. That's probably better than me throwing the painted figure under the camera.
Is that in the fan? Yeah, I think that is in the fan favorites expansion.
Yeah, it made the cover of the box, which I was very happy with as well. Yeah.
Oh.
So.
I didn't know that.
So. Yeah. Gene and I actually, since Gene wasn't so engaged in this long process of sculpting this piece and going back and forth on it and editing it and changing it, I wanted Gene to be involved with the colors as well. So we had to stay away from certain traditional colorations that might have been confused with another property. So it was kind of trying to keep the vibe and the mood of what the other piece was per se and incorporate it. So yeah, we went back and forth on this, and it was kind of
it's a strange thing how that happens.
Yeah, it's funny. It was hard to find the color choices, and I went back and forth and actually repainted it a couple of times with some different color ideas, and stuck with these kind of purpley reds and there's a lot of oranges and yellows in there too with complement. And then the scales are my favorite triad, Dusky Skin Triad, which is no longer available. So if you have some
Dusky Skin is not available.
So that's a really rare piece then. You'll never paint another piece like that again.
We need to start a campaign. Just like Bobby did the Meadow Green campaign.
I know, right? We should do
Dusky Skin Triad.
Yeah. No, and the thing you get to it as a painter, when you're buying a piece and buying a miniature, and you're like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna work on it, but you really don't get to know the figure until you actually start working on it and painting it. Just all the little things and the transitions that you had between the back scales and then as they came into the chest. I tried to do those justice and have a decent transition from the oranges, but didn't have
it looks
have
great.
a line with the purples, because it was such an abrupt thing. And it was interesting because it was very organic and not what I would have expected from a digital sculpt, if that makes sense, Gene.
I tried to make his scales blend in. I wanted that from, because he's got the real hard bony scales and then kind of the under, I don't know what you'd call it, but the under scales, and then his kind of softer underbelly, and I wanted the skin and the under scales to transition smoothly, kind of blend, like exactly like what you painted it. I mean, I think it looks great the way you kind of faded them in, because I don't know, I think that's how it would be, but that's it's a creature from
I've ever seen has been
imagination.
Like that. I mean,
so yeah, exactly.
You know what though? I hope that Frank never gets a copy of this.
Me too. I'll second that.
I know
we need to start a ban list, I think, for that.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I really like the faces on this guy.
Yeah, I was going for originally we were going for Mandrill, but then it needed to be more demonic and less Mandrill. And so that, it's hard. It's, sometimes it's hard to get that to morph an animal from its origins. I mean, you're the animal sculpting expert, Jason. I'm sure you can speak to that in terms of making it,
how do you make it dire?
How do you change it while still retaining some of its character?
Well, I think you've done a very good job. I mean, you have the enlarged eyes, you have the flared nostrils, you have the really disturbing teeth. I think the really disturbing teeth help an awful lot.
Push it into the demon realm.
Yeah, well, and a big threat too. I mean, mandrills are tough looking, but nothing like this.
Yeah,
especially with the horns. No, I think the whole thing is a great piece.
Thank you.
If you needed practice painting any kind of skin or fur or scales, it's a good piece for that practice too. Bone and teeth and eyes. Yeah. And
you need to start
hair.
using these in your how to paint textures classes.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I get a ton of people to sign up if they know they're getting a free demonic lasher.
Get a free demonic lasher out of the deal.
Yeah. That'll sell tickets by itself. We'll just show up, get the
some in our
demonic
conversion class,
and leave. This would be a great piece in the conversion class.
Yeah. Any so giant with those flailing arms would be fantastic.
And you guys are figuring out, hopefully, to teach that class for this.
I hope so. It kind of depends on what we have available, what material we have available for it.
You know who's going to end up teaching that if we had one? It would be Bobby, because it would be his little dip method class.
No, that's a separate class. That's stupid Minwax.
Michael's talking about our conversion class, I think, not not the dip method.
But for textures and painting, I mean, he would be all over that. And speaking of Bobby, Bryce wants to know. What does he want to know? Bobby wants to know what my top methods for creating base geometry are. Well, I like to use primitives, Bobby. I like to use the Z-Modeler primitives. And my polygon management, I'm messy as hell with my polygons. I don't pay any attention. 3 million,
I don't even know what topology
subtool
flow means. So there you go.
my topology flow, I don't pay any attention to it. I just
that's like a line on an income tax thing. Who pays attention to that? You just do it, write in something, call it good. Topology flow.
Well, topology flow is for animation, but
yes,
we don't use any of that.
No, thank gosh.
All right, so we talked about a little sculpting. Now, what our intro is, our art, our original art for the Crow's Nest show was drawn and developed and out of the mind of Gene Van Horne from the very beginning. And you correct me if I'm wrong. I think I might have even texted you, or I think you even volunteered out of the blue to come up with some art. And I had no idea what we wanted to do for some kind of goofy art as an intro thing or as graphics for it.
Justin, start with slide 1, if you would. There you go. So I think originally, I don't remember how, if I volunteered or you asked, or I don't remember. All I know is you had mentioned at one point you wanted Saturday morning cartoon, kind of 70s, cereal box, retro looking crow. So this method is what I do for pretty much everything. I start by going on Google and I look and just try to find a bunch of different references, and I came up with these are a few of the references I came up with, just to get kind of an idea. What are we looking for, and so from this then I start doing sketches, and that would be slide 2, Justin.
That sounds like the inside of Michael's head.
I like that Gearhead 13 crow.
Yeah, I did too.
I also like the Wolverton-esque crow here down in the corner.
The one with the bomb?
The one with the bulgy eyes.
And so I basically, I do some sketches in pencil and just come up with, these were all second versions, I guess. I do some rough sketches and then clean them up, and this is what I came up with and sent to you, Michael, and said, do you like any of these, any direction you want to go? And you picked the one in the crow's nest, of course, and I thought, okay, well, let's do that. And so then we go to slide 3, where I start tweaking it, because at this point it's like, okay, well, do we want to add anything to it? Do we want to change anything?
Well, Michael's got the other 4 that you sketched as tattoos. I don't know if you knew this.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Where'd you get them?
Hey, Justin, next slide.
Justin's asleep at the wheel.
I know. There we
go.
Cool.
So then I start to iterate once the kind of basic directions decided on. So we had the basic crow, crow's nest, and originally I thought, let's do a wooden, nailed together planking crow's nest font, and but that changes later on. Anyway, so we got the crow with the eyeglass and the crow with the mic and the eyeglass and the mic, and I asked Michael which one do you like, and he gave me the bottom left one there with the mic and the headphones and I think you
made the right choice going with the retro font more than the wood. The wood grain never seems to work out the way you want it to when you get it all colored in.
Yeah.
Well, the wood grain looks super cool. Yeah, the wood grain is super cool. I was just worried about its readability.
Yeah, that's just what I meant.
Yeah, and you said let's go with a different font. Let's go with let's add the top hat. And that's the nice thing about with today's tools, Photoshop and Illustrator and whatnot. You can iterate. You can pull in the one picture and just start playing with it and see what you like and don't like. And that's the same with digital sculpting. You can't. It's much harder to do in putty. Not that there's anything wrong with putty. It's just I always found it easier to illustrate and sculpt digitally. So then we got into color tests after we tweaked it, and we did some more. Once again, I iterated on the colors and added, started playing with it, and we still hadn't decided to change the lettering yet, but we started just playing with colors. You gave me some
I forgot about the
ideas.
clouds.
Yeah.
I really like
Yeah.
those. I really do like the clouds, but I don't, yeah. No, and
And-
I remember you throwing the colors, and although they were very crowish, I think that may have been where we came in with the purple, because
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with purple.
Yeah, you said,
and
you said, I think you said your favorite color was Procter purple. So
mhm.
I decided, well, let's make the crow purple
Gee,
instead.
I wonder why.
So yeah,
So once again, we're still playing with. Yeah, I was still playing with it at this point, and I put some filters on, and I got this really cool effect with the one on the left with the funky yellow and red. And I'm like, man, I really like that. In fact, I think I sent you a couple different versions of that too, and you're like, it's a little too psychedelic. But I really liked the offset look, and that added to
That doesn't sound like Michael at all.
Added to the 70s vibe.
yeah.
And
I
then you.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I think, yeah, I did like I remember the one on the left. I thought it was really cool. I didn't know how versatile it would be in throwing in the different, like we do now. We throw in different posters, we throw it into different ideas.
Yep. Sure.
And then when you showed me the one on the right. To me, that just seems so much cleaner. And we're not at the final version yet, I don't think.
Right.
But that was
this
is getting close.
We're one step away, because at this point it was like, okay, so I kind of changed added the right colors, added just a little bit of that filter. If you look closely, you can see it.
The distressing, I
Added,
love that.
Added
I
the
love
distressing, a little bit of the offset, a little bit of the, and so it's, I guess, ultimately, the thing with the Crow's Nest logo and the thing with the demonic lasher, it's all a process, and you have to go through it again and again and again and again and again and again. Like Michael said, you painted that demonic lasher a couple times, and it's true with anything that looks good. You don't see the hours and hours and hours and hours that people spend to get to that level. You can't just expect this to pop out fully formed. It never does. You have to work at it.
Right. A lot of people think, someone's good at art, it's easy for them. There's very few people I know that are quote unquote good at art that it's just easy and it just falls out, like you said. Most of the art that we see there's been a little agony in there, or at least some decision points and lots of iterations. And that's a good point, I think, for any approach to creativity. You have to be willing to scrap some stuff once in a while. You have to be willing to draw in some other opinions once in a while.
And don't be afraid to create a total pile of dog shit.
Yeah.
Because,
Failure is what makes you successful.
Yeah. You never know what kind of flower's going to grow in that pile of dog shit, right, Michael?
Exactly. No, but yeah, it is, because then you learn things like, I really screwed that up. It was like the demonic lasher. I painted it and I spent maybe 5 or 6 hours going, this looks like crap. This really looks bad. This is not going to be good. And I had to go a totally different direction to it. But I couldn't see that. I couldn't go on with the next step where it eventually ended up without making it look like crap first, I think. I had to go down that road. My mind was set. I had to paint it this certain way. And then it led me into going, oh, wow, this makes more sense. And drawing on, I'm sure both of y'all have done this, drawing on other pieces that you've done where you're like, this piece that I've done previously, this sculpture or painting or whatever, is completely different if you looked at its subject matter, but there are parts of it, they're like, I did this little thing on this for this piece that I can tie into now this. And it just takes you time to see that. So,
you have to follow. It's good to follow the conventions, and it's good to follow the stuff you learn in school or the stuff that you read about in terms of process, but there's always a certain amount of intangible, that's it. There's just that moment where it tilts into something that really looks good, that's not just technically good, but that actually works. And that's a wonderful feeling. I think a lot of us, that's why we do this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a dopamine rush for sure.
Yeah.
When you get it,
Well-
and it's like, and then the interesting thing, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this too, is after you've hit that and you haven't looked at that piece for a while, you come back to it and you're like, how did I do that? I don't remember doing that. And you're just,
And then you're afraid you can't ever do something that good again.
Yeah.
Do you get this? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really the imposter syndrome, but it's kind of a variant that I seem to get
Yeah.
fairly often. It's like, wow, that really turned out good. Now I'm scared I'll never be able to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a funny feeling.
we owe Gene a unpayable debt for
Oh.
designing our graphics for this show.
Yep.
I mean, that's the
Well, that's
foundation
good
of
because
this
we
show.
weren't really going to
It was
pay him.
fun.
So I think calling it an unpayable debt is probably the way to
I
go.
know,
on
but
that.
you didn't have to
It
say that we
avoids
weren't
that
planning
whole
on paying
invoice
him.
discussion.
Yeah, just an unpayable
that's
debt.
an
You don't have to go any
unpayable debt.
further. Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
No, there's
I
no
think
way.
that's wonderful.
To pay you back.
To clear up
Yeah.
any worries about payment, let me tell you, I've been thinking about this for the last few days, and one of the things that I've always enjoyed in this particular business has been all the kind of fun, silly side projects that I've gotten to do. I mean, I've done probably just as many, things like these logos and random sculpts for people that as I've done real work, paying work, and I just really enjoy doing it. I enjoy having those fun little things that, you get to make with people like we're engaged with in this hobby, in this industry. And I'm sure there's other industries you can do stuff like that, but not to the level we can here. And so that's part of the reason I'm here, is to do those fun little projects. I enjoy it. If I didn't,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here. Or you'd be
really
getting an
breaks up
invoice.
Yeah, it really breaks up some of the tasks that we have to do are a little bit drudgy. There's things that you don't really want to do. You don't want to take the time. They just seem like they're eating up a lot of time. And the projects you're talking about, that kind of gives you a break. There's many times where I like to just pull out something that's fun, do the fun thing, get it out of my system, and then go back and hammer away at what I know is going to be a difficult, time-consuming piece.
Yeah.
It kind of keeps you fresh.
Yeah, it does. It keeps your creativity fresh. It keeps your energy levels up. It inspires me. That's part of the reason why I do that, because I did the Clever Crows thing because I knew it would kind of take on a life of its own. And I think it has. You've got your merch, I get the exposure, and everybody's happy, and it's just a fun thing to do.
Speaking of merch, Crow's Nest merchandise is on Zazzle and on
Very good. T-Public.
TeePublic. Yeah, check them out. I've got them all loaded. We're going to start loading up some of the posters from the shows too. If you have a favorite show and you want to put it on a T-shirt, that'd be kind of cool to see. We have the art. Might as well throw it up there just in case if anybody sells it. Jason, show off your coffee cup again.
Speaking of posters, while Jason's showing his coffee cup, I would like to throw out, Jason has done a fantastic job with these posters. Every week he comes up with a really great poster.
Right. No.
Yeah, the coffee cup is wonderful. And, of course, I ripped off Gene's idea for our Get Under the Bus thing. Tried to follow a little bit of his lead, even though it's not exactly a kid show. It's, influenced by the same era, which I see as maybe a little earlier than the 80s.
It's not a kid
maybe
show
all the way
yet.
back
It's hosted by
into
a
the
bunch of
60s.
kids.
Yeah. That's true. Grown-up kids.
Grown up kids.
Yeah,
grown-up
when are you
kids.
guys gonna get some more get under the bus merch? You need that.
Well,
Well,
we've got a
yeah.
couple things actually to announce in a couple of weeks, I think.
Ooh, I didn't
You
talk to
can.
Justin about. Can I talk about? Hey, Justin, are you paying attention?
Yes.
Speaking of,
He sounds excited. Look at that.
I got Ron to send me, and this is what we were teasing weeks and weeks ago. Julie and Bob and Julie, green users on the forum, sculpted up this crow's nest stick pin, pokey tool. That's the correct term
Super
for
cool.
it. And it's a little blown out with the camera since it's not primed or anything like that. Super excited about that. Super cool. And we are going to be doing some giveaways in upcoming shows. This will be
Right.
the only way to get this thing is via
Once
giveaways.
there's enough of them in production, right? We need a bucket of them so we can start giving them away. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, Justin, what do you know about the projection time frame of doing this?
I know nothing in terms of. I didn't even realize he had sent you some of them. Obviously, I've seen the. I didn't know we had a production model yet, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I know that doesn't really.
Well, we've
shock
got
you.
at least two. Oh, three.
Bryce.
We've got three.
Three. Look at that.
Bryce
in
said it
terms
needs
of-
Minwax.
it needs
Yeah,
more.
Bryce,
Little
you're
Minwax
never
would
coming
help.
back on the show again, ever.
That sounds like Bryce
Yeah.
isn't getting one.
Reaper
Reaper
John-
John said,
Yeah,
I saw a
this
bunch of them
morning,
cast
so-
up.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. If he casts a bunch up, then I would expect soon TM to be when we start giving them away.
So I tune in
All right.
next week for sure.
Yes, tune in next week, and you may learn more about whether they're available or they're still down the pike.
That's right.
TBD. Yeah. So I
I
wanted to
can
make
tell
sure.
you I
and-
don't have one, and I don't think Green Users has one yet, and I don't think Gene
No.
has one yet, and I think
Huge-
Michael's got three.
Huge. Hey, that's Ron. You asked Ron to send me this, so when he
Right.
sent me
I don't
this,
even have one of those.
he threw 3 in the box for me to pub on the show.
Yeah, well,
so
somehow the painters get all that. Have you noticed this, Gene? The painters get
Yeah.
the stuff.
Yeah.
God, green.
We gotta
green
wait
users,
2 years
you guys,
for production.
Yeah.
You guys do not have to win one. Green users don't
Okay.
have to.
Jason, you and I'll have to win one, but
Well, they won't let us win one. We will have to sneak around till we can find them, like we always do, and then
Yeah.
fill our pockets.
Yes.
uh,
I know a secret on how to get those to you. I'll tell you after the show.
oh, okay.
Remind
Alright.
me. Okay. There's a secret. Anyways, hey
Well, maybe
Justin.
Michael could send us some.
No. They're gonna come from the source. I know how to
boy.
get them from the source easy, or easier, or yeah. Anyways, so we
We're
talked
going
some
to cash in
sculpting.
some of those favors, is what you're saying.
We- hey, anyways, we talked sculpting, we talked drawing, and let's go back to some sculpting. We did
Yes.
a demonic lasher, and I wanted to do something a little fantasy, a little sci-fi, a little fantasy sci-fi kind of piece.
This is one of
can we-
Gene's latest big pieces, I think,
Yeah,
as far as things that have been produced.
cyber chicket, baby. Boom.
Oh,
So,
look at that.
oh, wait a minute. Well, before we get into the slides, Michael, why don't you show your version?
Okay.
Do you have it there?
Can you show it off the photo? I'll just do this. Hold on.
So it's the Cyber Chick from
I'm glad we
Reaper
choreographed
Virtual
this before.
with 75 millimeter, and
Oh, there we go.
Ron asked for he wanted a 75 millimeter figure, and so basically he sent me that second picture, or that first picture that Justin had put up, and that was my art brief. And sometimes, as Jason is very familiar with, you'll actually get art, or you'll get a stick figure werebear,
Verbal
or
thumbnail.
a picture. Yeah, a verbal thumbnail or a quick Google picture. So, Justin, if you would go back to that first picture. That was the inspiration. That was I want this, and the reason. Well,
Yeah, I can. This is definitely a Ron picture, isn't it?
Yeah,
this is a
it
Ron.
is.
This is a Ron picture.
It is.
Very much
It is
so.
Ron.
We
It is
won't
Ron
get into
picture.
that because, first of all, we'll be violating the terms of service. So anyway, this is what he sent me. So once again, I did the same process. I got on Google and I started searching, and so Justin, you can go to some of these other. Go to the next slide. So I started looking and I found um, this figure in the middle, this picture in the
Hmm.
middle, and I found the Black Widow figure with the pose, and I'm like, I really like that pose, and I really like the kind of elements that were on this on the one in the middle. You know, the
Yeah.
pants and the ripped, the just
I like her
everything on
elements
her
as well.
equipment. Yeah, her element.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like her
her
equipment.
elements, and
Yeah.
and so
Her
basically,
elements or equipment are nice.
yeah. So we took those, and then Jason or Justin, next slide, if you would. And then I took these other elements, the hair from the girl on the right, the jacket from the girl on the left, the robotic arm, and then this whatever this hot blue container was. These were all just Google images, and I did a mashup in Photoshop, which is the next slide. And
Oh
this
wow.
was my quote unquote concept art. So it's, I basically took all these images and just mishmashed them together into and I sent it to Ron, and he was like, "Yeah, I love it." I changed. We ended up changing the hair to the one that was in the purple where it's
Yeah.
hanging down.
I like that
This was
better.
the
Yeah.
original hair that he'd said he wanted. So, um, but the thing I'm trying to get
That's
to
more
here,
like bedhead. Yeah.
yeah, the thing I'm trying to get to with this is that you can go on the internet if you don't have concept art and you don't know how to draw. You can go on there with an image editing program and just Frankenshop these pictures together to come up with something new and unique that you can then work from. A lot of concept artists do this. In fact, I guess there's a concepting um, philosophy where they do the whole thing out of found stuff online. Um, I don't know. Anyway, I call it Frankenshopping,
Collage.
and yeah, it's
Collaging.
like a collage, but they do it for games and for movies and television, and they don't draw, they just Frankenshop stuff.
Michelle did
And
that a lot for Coors when she was
yeah,
doing a lot of their ad work. She would take all these images and throw them together and
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
come up with a mood board. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a mood
and
board. And go ahead, Jason.
well, I was going to say that when I started, that would seem a little bit like cheating, to be honest with you. That was something that we were taught you move beyond as an artist. But here's what happens, especially in our little corner of the industry. If you move too far beyond what everybody has seen, then they don't recognize what you're doing.
Hmm.
So, one of the nice things about pulling together a bunch of disparate elements is it still makes sense to the viewer or the purchaser. We know that this is a cyberpunk person. We know instantly an idea of her backstory, an idea of the theme around that you're building. Whereas if you hatched it from just a total tabula rasa, people may not get it. And the
Yeah,
worst thing about doing a sculpture sometimes is if people just don't get it.
yeah. On a kind of tangent, I suffer from aphantasia. Well, I don't know if suffer is the right word. I have aphantasia, so I can't see
Mm-hmm.
things in my mind. Um, and this is the way I a lot of times have to create, is by taking bits and pieces and elements and mashing them together. Like Izzy can design anything out of her head. She's an amazing artist that way. And there's a term for that type of artist. It's called a blue sky artist, because they are the sky's the limit on their imagination. I would love to be able to do that, but I
But
can't.
Izzy's taken a lot of time to ground herself as well in historical costuming, and I mean, it's there still has to be some kind of fundamental well to draw on, I think.
Yes. You definitely have to have a well, and there's this perceived thing that drawing from inspiration is cheating, and it's not. If I were to try and sell this particular image, yes, that's cheating, and it's. I mean, you're stealing at that point. But to use this as inspiration, it's not cheating, because you're drawing from a bunch of different sources to create, everything that has been created, or everything that can be created has been created. So you're just kind of recycling it, And
yes, you have to speak in sentences with words that people understand.
Yeah. But anyway, I did this because for me it's much easier than trying to draw this out of my head. I would never be able to do it. Somebody like Izzy, she'd come up with 3 of these and then say, they're all junk, and you and I, Jason, would be like, oh, I'd love to be able to sculpt any one of those. But so anyway, this is my process.
It's so good to sit next to Izzy when we're at a con. Because just to watch that process is incredible.
It is. It really is. That's one thing I'm super envious of, is that ability. So anyway, as you can see, I built the figure from that inspiration. Justin, do you want to show that the first movie, the one with the bodysuit?
Yeah, the one with that's not
no.
That's
There you go. So we were, I think
that's your T-pose.
It's a T-pose, and you guys were talking about, was it Bobby you were talking about? Yeah, T-poses.
Yeah.
So this is how far I took the figure before I posed it. You can see I sculpted the jacket. I sculpted, her knee pads. Some of the equipment. I typically do the equipment. I will sculpt that out and stick it on before I pose it. I sculpted the base. Got her ready to go in her little bodysuit. So because when I actually detail her pants and whatnot, that's just wrinkles and textures. So there's not a lot of sculpting, and once you pose it, all that's going to go away. So anyway, this is how far I take a figure like that in a T pose. Once we've gotten all the equipment done, then I go into posing it and detailing it out, cutting it up for production and that sort of thing. So if you want to show the finished version, Justin, finished movie, which I'm sure. So, I added you can see I added the wrinkles and the textures on her jeans and the textures. Her boots,
the seams and the buckles.
Yeah, the seams and the buckles and all that stuff is added after she's posed, because you don't need to put that on when.
Oh, I don't think I got the tread on her boot. I didn't see that on the miniature. I didn't look close enough. That's a wonderful detail.
There were no. Those were added. I built a tread and then just stuck it on there at the end. So it's it's much easier to sculpt in situ or in in the pose.
Sure.
get a more, I think you get a more realistic looking figure, but there are you want to take advantage of the ability to, you know, sculpt on two sides at once when you can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things that are symmetrical, like her jacket and her, you know, the weapon and the base and all that stuff. So.
Oh, definitely. If you're doing hard edge stuff, you need to be able to use some symmetry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the extra container that she's stepping on, I think, was a nice little addition to the scene.
That was specifically asked for, the hot blue transport.
Yeah, we have a couple of those in that line.
For hot blue.
Yeah. Yeah, the Rutarki guy has the round one.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not sure what hot blue is. Some sort of fuel or something, isn't it? I don't know. It's something that powers rocket ships, I guess.
I have no idea. That's really cool. No, I really like this piece a lot, and it was special because Reaper made it a 75 millimeter. Is that right, Gene?
Yep.
Is it 75?
75.
75 millimeter in metal.
Ed is hot to do that. He wants to start doing more of those. I don't know if you'll see him or not, but I know he's mentioned to Ron that he wants to do that. So
yeah, it's a great piece.
Now, Michael,
we'll see more.
How does your approach change on that, Michael? On a 75 millimeter figure, do you find yourself lavishing more different techniques on it?
It allows me to, definitely. It allows me to, I like to do my textures and what have you. And maybe, Justin, you could throw up the painted version, so I don't have to, and it allows me to play a little bit more and play a little more with the mood. I wanted to, the hot blue fuel tank thingy that Gene sculpted, it was so cool. But I wanted to make a scene with it, and I saw this piece, and I said, Ron, send me a copy of this so I can work on it. But I wanted to make an actual scene, and there's been a lot of miniatures lately that have had this wall behind them to create a true like photographic scene instead of having it where you can look all the way around. Because you can't. If you looked at the back of mine, it's just the back. It's just black. There's nothing there. So I wanted to make a little scene with that, and I wanted to incorporate the blue fuel tank, yet not make it look like it just stood out, make it look like it was actually part of the scene. So a word of advice, for those attending ReaperCon, and they have the melt bin, that where you come in and you do your metal trade, and Gint's usually running it, and you dump you get your metal and you weigh it out and you get a credit, and you can go to Reaper, you can get new miniatures. And then they'll take that and they'll just dump it in this giant tray. And while you're there, you can sort through it. And if you find some pieces you like, you can buy those pieces off a Reaper or whatever. The tank that's behind her left arm, the little grate thing that's behind her right foot, both of those came from the melt bin. They were just like, oh, these are cool. These are good little finds. The little piece behind her that's behind the gun, basically, that corner piece, was just from some space scene building kind of thing. It was super cheap. I bought it years ago and just kept them around in my bits bin. And the little the tile that's both on the top and on the bottom is just that evergreen plastic card stuff. And then all the gunky stuff is just milliput. And I wanted to create a kind of
Where'd
toxic...
you get the restricted sign from?
I love that.
Yeah, that makes the piece.
I think that might have come from Hassle Free at some point. Or it came. Yeah, I think it did. I think it came from Kev White. I think they had those, or it was somebody else. But I've had that. I've had that little sign forever, and it's a good. It's kind of out of scale with a lot of the 30 millimeter figures.
Oh yeah.
And so I've always wanted to use it, and I've used it in some larger monster pieces before, a couple of them. But for her, it just ended up being the perfect size for the piece. And
Aaron's asking if she can still get that figure. Do we know if that's still available? Actually, for Aaron, I'll bet you we can.
For Erin, I figure she knows she can make certain phone calls. and
Yeah, I think she
emails.
could probably make contact with just the right people at Reaper. I'll bet
Yeah,
you there's.
she shouldn't tease everybody else on here that doesn't have the contacts that she has. She knows better than to do that, but if she wants to continue
That's
to do that. But yeah, this is
I,
a fun, fantastic piece, and I really liked it, and I had a lot of fun painting it. And it's just it's
yeah.
it's again
Looks
it's
great.
nice to change genres into. I mean, this thing isn't perfectly painted, and I kind of wanted it that way. I wanted it loose, and I wanted it gritty and grimy, and like she's in the
Gonna
back
bring it to
alley.
ReaperCon?
Yeah, if it makes it there, it might end up somewhere else first.
All right. Sure. Send it somewhere else then. Go ahead.
But yeah, that was
great. It was a lot of fun to do, and it's a blast to see Michael paint it. He did a fantastic job on it. So,
Thank you.
and I don't know if it's still for sale.
They were
you have to
talking
look on
about
Reaper.
it.
I
Yeah,
know.
Master.
I know they're gonna be doing well. Like I said before, Ed's talking about doing more 75s. So
We've been beating them up for
Hopefully it'll
years
be-
to do that.
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. You need more painter pieces, right?
Yeah,
Well,
Always
yeah,
need more painter
definitely.
pieces.
Well, yeah, totally. And it's not anything that
Someone,
I like.
someone in Durham, Texas would like to see that figure as a 28 millimeter version, which I would second that. I would think that'd be a really good piece for a tabletop game as well.
Yeah, I would. I think I would probably redo the pose for a 28 millimeter. Make her, just kind of standing there, not leg up. But yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. So, Justin, you there?
I am here.
Hey, I sent you some other photos. You want to
Let's see
just
here. Which
what else did
which
you
ones
get?
do you want to show off?
show off the crow one?
Crow one, okay. Also, want to give you guys a 5-minute warning
5-minute warning for what?
for the end of the show.
Oh, all right. We're gonna do this one, and then we're gonna do the blue one.
Sure
After.
sounds to me like we need a Gene part 2 or
I
part 3, technically.
So are you
Rhonda-
holding
Rhonda-
the photos back so we have to have Gene back on? Is that what you're
I
doing?
would never do that.
Is this some kind of producer blackmail
I
deal?
would never.
Hey,
do
Jason. Rhonda gets
that.
2 hours, and we only get like an hour or something.
I know.
We started late too.
Well, for
so.
obvious reasons, Ron.
I
It's
see.
just 2
well,
hours.
Is it
weren't you
because
guys
Rhonda
doing like an
doesn't
hour and a
do
half?
hers
What's going on, man?
near Justin's
We're
dinner
supposed to be at
time?
least
Is
an
that-
hour and a half, Gene. You're right.
What did you say?
And you're shortchanging Gene, Justin, and the
I'm giving
audience.
Gene another episode.
The very
Oh.
guy who you're trying to get
Oh.
another episode for now. Well, there we go.
So, this piece is not in any kind of production or anything like that. This was a piece that I've asked the sculptors to, over the years, to take Izzy's art and if they would sculpt a piece in their own style. And Jason's done
Izzy's
one,
art's
and
the one on the
Bottom
bottom
right.
here, in the bottom right.
Yeah. Bottom
Yes.
right. And so, if many of you that know me know that we have golden retrievers, and we have Miko now. It's been on the show a lot, but our first golden retriever was Zoe, and Zoe was a big goofball, and this was a very touching piece. It took Gene like 2 years or plus to concept this and sculpt it.
That was 2 years to just let it stew and develop.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that you've done, because it was so personal. It was for me, and it reminded me of Zoe. And she's always with us. She's been gone. She's been gone like 9 years now, which is crazy.
Wow.
But yeah. So I have a few copies of this, and I still have my own. This version rests with the Van Horne family, but it's not even on your shelf. Is it still at
No.
Brita's work?
No.
Is
yeah.
it back?
I gave it
Okay.
to my wife Brita because I was actually, this is one of my favorite pieces. Sculpted, painted, just all across the board. It took a long time to come up with the idea, and I think eventually there was you had said, oh, I want a crow, but I don't want it standing on a skull, and it took forever to figure out, oh well, let's get it to stand on top of the dog.
Exactly.
But yeah, so it's always been one of my favorite pieces. It was one of those pieces where it had to just stew in my head for a couple years, and then once it did, it came out, pretty much fully formed, and I sculpted it in, I don't know, a day or two, and
but you didn't. It took 2 years because you were thinking
2 years
about it. That
yeah,
was part of the
exactly.
sculpting.
2 years. Yeah.
Can you back it up an image so it's more of a frontal view? That's good.
There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you let's see. I had it printed. Paul, I forget his last name. Paul printed it, and I sent it to you, or did I send it?
Vision Tech?
Yeah,
he printed
you
on
sent
Vision
Proto. Vision Tech.
And I had it casted up by a couple of times.
Anyway, so you painted it, and I was just so enamored with it. It's like, I got to give this to my wife because, honestly,
that's wonderful.
She's part of the reason I'm, doing this. If not, the main reason I'm doing this is she has given me the opportunity to sculpt, and she doesn't have a lot of my pieces that have been painted. I've given her some figures over the years, but nothing. I'm not a painter, so nothing that I've done, and I was just so proud of this and so happy with the way it turned out. It's like, I got to give it to her. So yeah, she's got it. It's in her office in a little glass case, and everybody that comes in is like, oh, that's so cool. What is that? And she tells them all about it. So
that's fun.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, that's like, you need to get this in production, Michael, so other people can paint it, right?
I know. It's it's interesting because it means so much to me, and I don't know whether and maybe chat could say something, if a crow on a dog, I don't know if how many other people that would speak to.
Everybody in chat seems to really love it, but I can understand that it's a special piece, so that makes it a little more difficult sometimes to make money off something like that, or to put it out to too many different people.
Yeah. Oh, and Justin, there was one other piece before. I know we have to go, but I wanted to show off.
Which one?
The blue one. Where's
Okay.
Where's my gold?
Where's what?
Where's my gold? It was an email.
Oh, that's another paint color we don't have.
Where's my gold? Ah,
there we go.
So this was my last time I was able to enter in for a Sophie, and this was the year that I got inducted and all that stuff, so I couldn't compete anymore. But this was a piece that Gene sculpted all of the characters in it. So the first part is Frost Giant yelling, just such a fantastic piece. And this version is the second time I had painted it. I painted the studio model, but I liked it so much, and I wanted to make a scene out of it. And so he's yelling at this rabbit that Gene had sculpted for a 54 millimeter piece, right? That was the Reaper snowboard babe, and such a great rabbit, but it happened to fit in and scale wise work with the Frost Giant. Big ass Frost Giant could be a big ass rabbit too. This was one of my favorite Gene pieces, the Gene sculpted pieces. But yeah, go on to the next one.
That was Wayne Reynolds' art.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember those giants.
They were
so
tough.
He's yelling at the rabbit and where's my gold, and then along the side, and there's a hole right behind the rabbit's butt. You can kind of see it, and then there's other rabbits that have stolen all of his treasure over the time, and so it was more of a comical, fun piece. But yeah, it was inspired by really the main frost giant. I wanted to create a scene, but then the rabbit's really what created the scene, because the rabbit, I think I reposed his ears a little bit, but just this shocked look on his face and the way he's kind of looking up just fit with the giant. I didn't have to do a whole lot because my sculpting skills were nil at that point. They're just a little bit above nil right now, but yeah. So one of my favorite pieces. I just wanted to show that off because
we'll be fixing that.
Sits proudly. Yeah,
that's great.
So, and here's another side. Is there one more picture or no? Yeah, and then there's the back side with all the various treasure and whatnot. So yeah, and there's the him looking at, and that was done.
No,
holy crap.
Long time ago.
Yeah, that was the green putty piece.
That was.
I think we were all taking stabs.
That was the year we were in the back corner room at ReaperCon.
Yep.
It was 2014. I think that was the year.
Yeah, there were several of us that had that Wayne Reynolds frost giant art, and we were all agonizing over it. I think Chris finally pulled it all together in digital form for this last couple of sets.
Yeah.
Well, Gene, you did a fantastic job taking that art and realizing it, especially in traditional putty.
Yeah.
So
that was for a long time. That was one of my favorite sculpts. I was always really proud of that one. You always have some that you're like, I just nailed that, and you have lots that are, oh man, I don't know what I was thinking.
Again, full of different textures, lots of motion. No, that's a great piece.
Yeah, that was a fun piece. Piece.
Well, cool. Now we're past Justin's bedtime, I guess. So we want to be cognizant of that. So we'll have to have Gene on another show. Not that we wouldn't have you on anyways, because Gene is our default. If we have just,
That's right.
We haven't been able to
guest.
look, Gene is our default guest. So yeah, thanks a lot. It's been fun.
Sure.
It's been fun.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, thanks, Gene.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We're seeing more of each other these days than we did in normal times. So hopefully we're back to total normal times here shortly.
Yes.
We've got. Hey, Justin, did you find out anything more on the miniatures tied to the Reaper Errant show?
Today has been pretty busy. I have not.
Do we want to pre-tease that?
I don't. I mean, I want to, but at the end of the day, it's not up to me in terms of whether or not it actually happens. Unfortunately, so
Ron mentioned it on his Friday show. I went back and watched it.
It's not a secret. We're trying to make the miniatures that we use for Reaper Errant, which are specific to some are very specific to the game, and some are already in production. We'd like to put together a set and offer them in some way to our wonderful watchers of Reaper Errant. So Justin has been busy and Ron has been busy trying to put some things together behind the scenes, and hopefully we can get that to work out.
Yes, our goal is, because next Reaper Errant is essentially marks the anniversary, right?
Right.
It's a year's worth of episodes.
Is it really?
It is episode 52. We're hoping. We are hoping to.
That's not right.
It's a year's worth of episodes, but it's been longer than a year.
2 years.
Right. Well,
No, it's not.
We play every 2
weeks.
Yeah, it would be 2 years.
Yeah. So it'd be 26. We haven't been on 52 times.
Yes, we have.
That's what it says on the Twitch counter.
That'd be 2 years, and we haven't been doing this for 2 years.
It's every 2 weeks. If it's every 2 weeks, 52 weeks a year.
It's Reaper math.
So anyway, we plan on next episode, if we can, giving away sets of these. So,
yeah. You have 2 weeks
I wasn't going to be that
Proctor.
specific. Justin just tied himself down. That's great.
No, they're all going to be painted and dipped in Minwax by Bobby Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Joy. Trust me, you'll want those.
The Minwax dripper.
I also wanted to try something different for the episode today. Since Gene is a regular on the channel, Gene, do you want to do you want to give us our rundown of our Twitch schedule?
Oh.
Man, that was
no,
just a
because I have no
backhand
idea
slap.
what it is.
Oh, don't worry, Gene. I got this for you. Here you go.
There you go. Just read it off
Yeah.
because
Okay. I see how you guys are. You planned this. You planned this, didn't you? You planned this.
more than you can imagine.
Okay, well, let's see. It looks like every day in the morning from 11:30 a.m. till how long does that usually go? I have no idea.
It's about 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock,
Central.
so 11:30 to 1.
So
Toolbox
she gets an
tips.
hour and a half. She gets an hour and a half, just making that clear. Okay, go ahead.
Monday through Friday, Toolbox Tips, 11:30 to 1. And then Monday afternoon, you got Rhonda Bender on, Beyond
2 hours.
the Kit,
Yeah.
2 to 4, which is a great
That's
show.
another
You
Gene
guys
logo,
tune in
by
and
the
watch
way.
Yes.
Yeah,
the
that is
Rhonda
another
Bender's
logo. That was,
Another
you want to know a
piece of
quick
Gene's
funny
work.
story about that logo? I did
Yes.
that logo for her 10 years ago, and it never got painted. It never got colored because she couldn't figure out what colors to put on it. So, just randomly, it happened. I happened to color it last.
Well, Rhonda's always
last
playing
year.
the long game anyway. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that's
And
nothing.
last
10
year
years.
I colored it, and I was surprised to see she used it. But anyway, so let's see. Crow's Nest, 5 p.m. Central till
If we're
whenever,
lucky to get an hour. We're lucky to get an hour.
Yeah,
till Justin's ready to eat or go to bed.
till Justin-
best show
yeah,
on the
Justin's-
Reaper Network in that time slot.
Best
Yeah.
show.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. best
Perfect
show on
qualifier,
Tuesdays
Jason. I agree
afternoon.
with you.
Yeah.
Then
We win
Wednesday,
our
you
time
got
slot on the
Miniatures
Reaper
Den.
Network every time.
Yeah. How long is that
Sorry,
show,
Gene.
Justin?
Oh,
This is why it takes
it's
Michael
not
so
this
long.
show, so it's really any time when he wants to finish.
Exactly.
So 2 to whenever with Luca.
Uh-huh.
My name is Luca.
Hey,
and then
don't go there.
Thursdays.
Don't go to that second floor.
And then Thursdays, we've got some extra shows on Thursday. We've got the Crafty Creative with Josh Foreman, and that's 2 to
Whenever. I'm sure it's
Whenever.
hours and hours long.
almost
Yeah.
6. It's 4
Probably
hours.
Yeah.
4 hours long.
Yeah, it goes
yeah.
4 hours,
Sure.
and then there's the next
Right.
one.
He
which-
does some really creative stuff too. And then
And it's crafty wise too.
and then the show, the main show.
No,
This
Which is,
it's not.
Which is
Just because
by
they
the
give
way,
away
a-
stuff.
An hour. That show is
And-
only an hour.
No,
And
it's always over. It's
Well,
always
that's because
over.
we start at 6:15.
Well, that's
So-
not my fault.
we see how that
So
works.
Reaper
Well,
Live,
it's only an
6
hour.
p.m.,
Reaper Live.
6 to 7.
Hmm.
And then Fridays, we've got every other Friday, we have Reaperland. Oh, no. Is Reaperland on every Friday?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Reaperland's on
See,
every
you've
Friday.
only been tuning in every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now
yeah, I only tune in
You
when
got to
I
write
have
that on your calendar. Set a reminder.
Reaperland with John and Brother Dave at 3 p.m. Central, where they discuss all things Reaper.
Yeah. They play games.
And then, now what's this Friday Sharon show? I'm not. I know that we were doing one, but we were
No,
doing one.
It's not
updates.
consistent. As of currently right now, there's nothing past
just
Reaper Land
randomly-
this Friday.
Okay.
Are you referring to
So
the
on this
11
Friday?
No, we took place of the toolbox episode this last Friday
Yeah.
in order to fill the time slot. And Ron was willing and able, I guess, and completely out of stuff to do. So he was okay with doing the episode.
Wait, Ron was out of stuff to do?
Yeah,
those aren't
that
my
doesn't
words
sound like
exactly.
Ron.
I'm quoting.
That's not
Ron.
what he told us. He was too busy.
Ron's way too busy and valuable to be wasted on that. So it was great that he did that.
This is
So
an
then-
accurate show. I'm sorry. This is an accurate graphic for this Friday. So there's nothing
this week.
correct this week. Right. There's no Reaper
Okay.
Vex and there's no Reaper Aaron.
And so next Friday, you'll have Reaper Errant again, where
Yes.
we might go back in time and actually try to feed ourselves to the Blue Dragon.
No, stop that.
No.
Stop that.
No.
My gosh.
And then on Saturdays,
Saturdays.
we've got Painting Platinum with Sophie from 3 p.m. till
I'm sure it's hours long.
whatever,
Hours and hours. Yeah.
where
Just
she's
about
painting
cutting
stuff.
that one
and-
short.
Well,
Yeah.
is Sadie still doing that on Saturday? I thought she was going to move her show.
It is currently still
Yeah.
on Saturday. It has not been ironed out as to
Okay.
another show slot. There's a possibility that it's going to be. We have kind of played around with the idea of it being between Anne's show and this show on Tuesdays. Some
Ooh,
small facet.
Oh,
that would be
well,
fantastic.
we
She
could start at
she could
5:30
lead
and
us.
cut us back to a half an hour. That would work okay.
That seems like where this show's
that.
going.
We could do that. I mean, if we're going to do that,
To
we
be
might as well
cut back on our
honestly-
time.
Let's just,
anyway.
I just put you Sadie in this slot. I mean,
Could
let's,
we
Yeah,
just
I
do
mean,
5
why
minute
not?
spot
That's a great idea,
episodes
Gene.
all through the week?
Yeah.
Maybe just
Let's
little
just-
5-minute spots.
In
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
Gene, would you like to host a new show with Sadie at 5 p.m. on Tuesdays?
yeah, you know, my original thought was you should have Sadie and Ron, and then you could call it the Sadie Hawkins show. You know, like the Sadie Hawkins dance.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh boy. Well,
Yeah, that's
on that
yeah.
note,
Yeah, way to end
And
when
we're
are
all
you going to
giving
sculpt
thanks-
a new
a
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving
mouseling for the
Yeah.
schedule graphic? Because that's the
that
same
is-
Thanksgiving mouseling that's been on there forever.
Yeah. It-
Giving
Do we have to wait till
So-
next Thanksgiving
so-
to get the new one?
So what happened was Dave put together the redone one that Ron made back during the fall, and Ron had put that one on there. But Dave did not realize that it was a Thanksgiving mouseling, so he just took it from the previous schedule and threw it on there. And now it's
we-
become kind of a meme.
But
on
we
the
do
channel.
give thanks for
It's all good.
reaperminiatures.twitch.
That's
right.
Yeah.
All the time.
Even
Yeah.
more fitting for Gene to read the schedule off this week.
And you can't go wrong with
Right.
a mouseling. You can
can't.
never go wrong with a mouseling.
No, and
Oh, there's
they
been
showed
a few,
off.
but there's been a
They-
few
I
that never got
saw-
cast that went kind of sideways. But
They showed off a preview of your drunken mouselings that are going to be a ReaperCon miniature.
Yeah,
Gene.
yeah.
Yeah.
The-
those
the
are
pirate
cool. Those are
mouselings.
super cool. Yep.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Those were
I
fun.
think Jim Ludwig's bringing a few on the show when he shows up too.
Yeah.
Let's hope not. You want to talk
Ah,
about
maybe.
term of service violation? Oh my gosh.
We barely made it through the Aaron Lovejoy episode. I don't know about the Jim Ludwig episode is going to be a challenge. So, but we're
Yeah,
gonna
you're gonna
try.
have
So
to
there's a
censor-
tease, by the
you're
way.
gonna-
We are going to try to get Mr. Ludwig to show up.
He's ready to go. I just got to get my shit together.
Yeah, you got to get
I
all that
finished-
stuff painted so we can show it.
I have to finish a couple of things so we can show everything off. And Neosho 143, Jason, he keeps saying he wants the orangutan guys, and I can't argue with him. You
I did
knock out the
a new
orangutans.
orangutan for ReaperCon, so we'll see
you
how
did.
well that goes over. And,
Yeah.
Maybe
Yosho, if you want
we can
more-
parlay that into something else.
Yeah, if you want more orangutans, you better buy like 30 of these orangutan guys from the ReaperCon. That'll show the passion for orangutans, and
Yep.
Ron will want it more sculpted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's a
You
nice
agree?
generic orangutan, just a piratey guy that throws knives and has a big rope over his shoulder, like all orangutans, and a fez.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Not
All right.
specific to any one theme.
It is safe.
This
to
is better
say-
music today.
This is.
Justin.
It is. This is the. Well, see, I'm in studio running the show today, so.
I
Oh,
can
thanks
barely
for,
hear the music.
Oh, here you. Don't worry,
Good.
Gene. Oh, this
Why
is
is
gonna
that?
be really loud. Hold on, I don't want to blow anyone's ears out. There we go.
It's
Is that better?
Much
a
better.
little Geritol. It's a little Geritol jam.
All right. Well, give everyone a wave, you guys. Thank you for coming out again, Gene. And I would expect to see
Thanks for having me.
technically a part 3, right?
Sure.
I would accept this. I
It's
would
probably
expect
a
to see
part
another
4,
episode.
I think, by now, or 5.
It is, yeah. Part 4 or 5. There will
A
be
big
more
thanks
than
to
still
Green
on.
Users, to
Otherwise, I'll
Rhonda,
be
to
on the new
Aaron,
Sadie show.
Greg, Neosho, Cranky Dog, Max Styles. Thanks to everybody for watching. Rock out with your.
Nope, we're not
Later.
doing that.
Mouseling out.
Thank you guys. Oh,
Rock out
also
with your mouse
tune in
clean
for the
out.
next episode with Gene, where it's going to be all about mouselings. Thank you
Yeah.
guys very much.
And the cyber chick did have pants on. Promise.
Thank you. Someone clip that because we're going to need that clip. I promise. We will need that. We can use it for stuff. Thank you guys.
Oh.